governor?
Yeah, so that's kind of
Environmental conservation
and sustainability.
and sustainability is not legal to study.
Yeah, you can't study or work in that field.
Are you kidding? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and so it's really frustrating as someone. I actually came up here because of how frustrating it is. Like, because I can't work or do anything in Florida. And I want to go back to Florida to help Florida.
Yeah. I read this crap in the paper, and I just like don't really believe it. And now I finally met someone who like is literally subject to it.
Oh yeah, it's the whole thing. It's the whole drama.
That's just sick.
It's really frustrating.
How about you? So you would change that?
Yeah, I would change that. Okay. But the process, I understand how the process is set and how it's not set in stone. But it's just going to take people.
It takes voters. It takes people participating.
Please vote.
Yeah. Thank you. Are you going to vote in the primary?
Of course, I always vote.
Thank you.
If you don't vote, you're not allowed to complain. That's my perspective.
Totally, I love it. And how about you?
Well, the question, what would you change?
If you had a magic wand, you could like change something in America right now, or the world. But like, where would you start? Like, where would you start? Like, what's really? What are you thinking of?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Grace and I were talking a lot about like people, the importance of people listening and caring.
Yes.
For each other, so I know it's not like a legislative issue, but I think
it is.
a heart issue.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that though, because people ask me what my first order of business is, and it's actually what you just said. In fact, if you see my campaign bus, it'll say everyone's invited, and we got to start with listening because we're fighting each other, therefore you can't fight for one another, and that's in Congress and the country. This is the whole nonsense. It's people angry. They don't even sit and have cookies together. But when you do, it's amazing what can happen, you know, and that's true in Congress too. People don't get to know each other, so how can you work with people who are not? So no, it's not stupid at all. It's actually very good. That's why I'm doing this. I woke up after the 2016 election. My daughters were 16 and 18, and my youngest was crying in her bedroom. My eldest was at college, freshman, crying in her dorm room. And I sat at the breakfast table and I promised them I'd do something because, like you said, you're not going to participate, you can't complain. And I was going to complain, so I participated. And now the same man that inspired that is on his way back to the White House. What do you think of the president and former President Trump?
I'm a sustainability major, so my perspective on it is every politician has their own view of the situation, own ways, own political stance. And as my major, I'm generally not supposed to pick a side.
No, I respect that.
Yeah, I'm generally supposed to look at it as a whole, goals on how to, prevent climate change and general. And both of them are true.
Both of them?
Both of them. Oh, okay, especially Donald Trump. Most of I'm learning environmental policy and how governments work in general. And most of my most of the political changes has happened during the last two presidents, which is crazy that I have to learn so much history and how generally our governmental systems work, and then watch two people completely turn it around, and I'm just like, wow, it's crazy.
Where would you start? So if you were president and sitting next to you in the Oval Office,
I could never be president.
No, but okay, let's say you're the president's counsel, the director of
EPA.
EPA or environment or or the director of common sense, maybe. No, but where would you start on climate? Like, where would you start on reducing pollution, increasing preservation?
Well, one, for instance, most the EPA, and for instance, the Clean Air Act.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Clean Air Act because I'm like literally writing a paper about.
Oh, you are.
I'm writing a paper about Clean Air. The Clean Air Act generally is supposed to be something that state by state legislations are supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And I totally 100% support that. But it was very fascinating that California versus Trump, that whole thing, that even though it is claimed to be state by state legislation, it is not. States can't regulate their own air and their own water. They are always, because each state, they're subject to the whole federal law, stuff like that. And it's kind of frustrating because each state has their own political issues, their own issues. California has terrible air because the way the mountains are.
Yeah, but different than Minnesota, where I live. Exactly. We have good water and lots of it.
Yeah, so it's very interesting how it's just there's less understanding on
how small groups and small grassroots situations are affected by this situation. Also, the definition of WOTUS is complicated and generally needs to be defined.
And how would you?
I would include wetlands
Okay,
in
yep.
WOTUS because wetlands affect the environment in general.
More than most people recognize.
Also, I think it was in the 2015, this, not Silas, Sila versus EPA.
Wow.
They changed
You're getting, that's a deep cut.
I literally just got out of a test with that. They changed it to be very loosey-goosey, but because of that, certain areas are affected with water pollution and don't have clean water in general. So it's fascinating.
All right, so both presidents kind of disappointing. What about you?
All presidents disappoint me.
All presidents? Oh, I hope this one might change it. What are people? And what are others talking about too? Just about the election and Biden and Trump and the whole dynamic right now. I'm just curious what's on minds.
Yeah, I think it's important to respect the authorities that are put in place in our country.
100%.
And like whether you, like I don't know, support that mission or not.
They're still over us, so we still have to respect them.
Well, they're not. In this country, it's not supposed to be over. It's a representative. That's part of the problem. I think right now. They're not kings or emperors or queens. They're presidents elected by us. They're not supposed to act like that.
Good support, I think.
Yeah, to get us to space. All right. Well, I've got a town hall tomorrow night at the Rex. We've got music, G Love and Special Sauce coming to town to play some music, both in the beginning and the end. And I'm going to answer questions. And if you guys want to come and bring some people, it's going to be different and fun. Might change your image of politics. So think about it.
Me and the entire policy class.
Please, I mean it. Please do. The Rex. It's tomorrow night. Music starts at 6:30. Town hall starts at 7. And we're going to make it fun.
Oh, nice.
Imagine that. So thank you both. Your names again? Allison and Gracie.
Yeah.
Great to meet you.
Great to meet you.
Forget it. High five. Gracie, you guys rock. Thank you.
Okay. Have a great day.
Hope to see you tomorrow night. Thank you. Well, I won't need luck if I get voters.
Okay.
Just saying. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Oh, terrific. Hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic.
I'm Audrey. It's very nice to meet you. I didn't know what was going on today. I was doing my homework and I looked down. Oh, sure.
Tell me about
Thank
you.
you. Really much. I'm here trying to study.
What are you studying?
I'm declaring right now.
Oh, so here. Freshman.
Yeah, I'm a transfer, so.
From where?
New Hampshire.
Oh, cool. Okay, I transferred as a sophomore myself when I was in college. Yeah.
What did you study?
I studied urban studies.
Okay.
Went from Connecticut College to Brown. Yeah.
Do you like it?
I loved it. I miss it. It was a long time ago, but I miss it.
I feel so starstruck.
Oh, me too. Before I go, tell me what's important. If you could look at magic wand, change anything in the country, where would you start?
I don't know. I think that healthcare is very interesting. I think that I wish there was more opportunity for people to get the healthcare that they needed.
You know, we're the only country that basically does it like this.
Yeah.
It's absurd. It's absurd. Everyone's like one, not everyone, but a lot of people are one illness or one broken leg away to like financial ruin. Only here.
It's crazy, like the amount of money that is just like spent in like emergency rooms and like stuff that people should have like accessibility for.
How do you know about that? I'm just curious. Most people don't know what you just said.
Yeah, well, I took a couple of like statistics classes. I went to community college, so I took like a couple of statistics classes and like a couple of like growth and development classes, and we compared like happiness and health levels with like other places, and like America's like
Scandinavia's way up, right?
yeah, Scandinavia, Sweden, those are like the happiest like places, healthiest places, and it's crazy to me because like we have so many opportunities here, but a lot of people.
Come volunteer with us. This is exactly what we're trying to do. Seriously.
How would I come volunteer?
I'll tell you exactly. Send us an email. Either we can take your information, we'll have some follow-up, or send us an email. It's hello@steam24.com. I'm going to be around New Hampshire a lot over the next couple of months.
That's awesome.
Just building your volunteer team. And we need people who feel the same.
No, I would love that. Yes, I'm really into like the.
How do you Do you have a pen by chance?
I don't on me, but
Okay, then
I'd love to get your information.
Okay. This is my sister Hutton.
oh, very nice to
She's
meet
helping
you.
out.
I'm Audrey.
And Audrey wants to help us out, and she has some thoughts on healthcare, which are shared. And that's going to be a big part of this. And we're having a town hall tomorrow night at the Rex.
Oh, okay.
G Love and Special Sauce is playing in Manchester, of course. 6:30 music, 7 o'clock. And if you want to bring some people, especially others that might want to consider helping out, I'd love it.
No, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
fun.
It's lovely to
So nice to
meet
meet you too.
Thank
How about a high five? Keep the faith and get connected. You're a Team pioneer.
Hello, sir.
Oh, hey, what's your name?
Sam, nice to meet
Nice to
you.
meet you, pal.
So tell me, why are you running for president?
I'm running for president because the country is desperate for change.
No worries at all. Okay, perfect.
I'm sick and tired of dysfunction, nonsense, and fighting, and the promises that are unkept. And no one's time to pass the torch to the future. I'm a member of Congress. I'm bipartisan. I care about my kids. I care about you and everybody here. And we're on a real collision course with danger.
So how will you differentiate yourself from Biden?
How will I differentiate myself from it? Well, I think there's some obvious traits that might be a little bit different. But the most important is getting things done that people care about right now. Affordability, take that. Fuel, housing, food, college education, healthcare completely inaccessible, and also costs double here than it does anywhere in the entire world. Medicine that are created here, invented here, oftentimes with taxpayer dollars, cost us 3-4 times more than anywhere else in the world. You know, the border is a disaster, both from a security perspective, but also from a humanitarian perspective. And it just takes some common sense to know that once it's at the border, it's already lights out already. We should be investing in countries from which migrants are coming, make them safer and more secure. Gotta welcome people. America.
And you think that border crisis is it exclusively Biden's fault?
No, it's the fault of administrations for decades. I was there during the Biden administration and the Trump administration. Very little has changed. It's been a disaster and totally inadequate.
Wasn't it better under the Trump administration?
It's come up and down over many decades, ups and downs. Not as much based on U.S. policy, much more based on what's going on in countries from which people are coming. That's the truth. Democrats have failed and Republicans have failed. I'm saying, I don't care if this failed. And let's not just do it. Democrats don't have the answers. Republicans don't have the answers. So in my presidency, one of the people at the table were from both parties were principled, good ideas, solicit the best and brightest, and fix the problems instead of trying to fight each other all the damn time. That's my point. I'm tired of fighting. I was in the business world before this. I've not been a politician my whole life. I'm tired of people doing this for decade upon decade upon decade saying they're going to change things.
Perhaps it's time for an outsider to lead this country.
Well, that's what I'd say after only 5 years in Congress. That's exactly who I am. I don't think it's appropriate for someone who's never ever served at all in the legislation or in the federal government at all to think they can come in and change things. No, you got to know the people. You got to know how it works. You got to know the system. You got to know the policies. You got to know 5 years. I know what I'm doing. So I'm that outsider.
So I want to talk about the national debt and the
33 trillion.
the budget.
It's a disaster.
You would agree that that is an issue.
The Center for a Responsible Federal Budget called me a debt hero because I acknowledge the debt is out of control. Our debt service, the interest rate that we're paying on it, when we had no interest rates, it wasn't that bad. Now it's going to be at like $700-800 billion a year. We're literally paying more for the tax.
It's going to cut away from Medicare and Social Security in years to come.
That's why I work with Senator Romney on what we call the Trust Act, because if we don't address those things now. And by the way, we should have zero-based budget.
Okay.
You know what that is? That's where you start a budget from scratch. Don't just add every year a little bit more. A business that operated like this would fail within a year. Not to mention $2 trillion deficits every single year.
So what specific areas do you think need cutting or?
First of all, I would point to the common sense.
Do we also have a revenue problem here?
Yes, massive and huge wealth inequity and income inequity. Starting with the common sense SAR, somebody would look at all of this and have the responsibility to point out ways to save money. So employ zero-based budget to the extent that they can. Probably hire a consulting firm, one of the big ones, that can actually assess the entire federal government and also make propositions. We're not going to solve it just by cutting. We've got to solve it with more revenue. And people like me who've been successful have a responsibility to share more, but I think we have a responsibility to tell people like me how it's going to be used and who's going to do it and why we're going to do it better. And we're not going to fix it by just one or the other.
But in terms of specific areas.
Let's take our defense budget.
Okay.
It's almost $1 trillion.
Yeah.
$1 trillion. Right? I would propose to you that we can probably keep America just as safe using much more impressive 21st century tactics and strategies, not 20th century. Perhaps spend a little less, ask our allies and partners around the world to take it up a notch. We spend a lot to keep their people safe, and we should. But we're not taking care of people in the United States, and that should come first, I think. Housing, education, healthcare.
So where does that bring you to foreign policy issues with
So I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Israel and Ukraine?
I serve on the Foreign Affairs Committee. I'm a ranking member of the Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia Subcommittee. So what's going on in the Middle East is in my wheelhouse. I've been to Jerusalem twice this year. I've been with Netanyahu twice. Been to Riyadh. We are this close to getting the Saudis to normalize with Israel. After Hamas is eliminated, they must, because they're the enemy of both Israel and the Palestinians. It's time to afford the Palestinians the right to a vote, which they haven't had since 2006. If they choose to replace Hamas with a government that wants peace, that is all we need to know, just to end this nonsense and push the two together and, frankly, do everything we can to make sure it happens. But if Palestinians choose Hamas again, focusing on the destruction of Israel, I don't know how peace is possible. And I think when the Saudis normalize with Israel, that has to be a component of it. How do you feel about it?
I feel that, like most people, although there are a small minority that even condemn Israel, so I support Israel's right to defend themselves. Also, I believe that they need the aid of the U.S.
I agree.
But one distinction that I think for foreign policy, it shouldn't just be in the name of democracy. It should advance U.S. interests. And so I don't really see the funding towards Ukraine as advancing U.S. interests.
I understand on the surface, but if Putin wins, takes over Ukraine, first of all, that's just the beginning. We're dedicating a lot of money, much more than I would like to, but it's existential that will continue, because if not, he'll succeed. Ukraine will go down, and it's the rest of Europe. We're not sacrificing American lives. We're literally disintegrating the vaunted Russian military.
But we have so many domestic policies, domestic issues right now. Crime in our cities.
Well, let me make my case, because if we don't do that, if we don't ensure stability in the Middle East, if we don't ensure stability in Europe, Eastern Europe, those problems are going to come to our door, just like the southern border is a problem. And we've let that fester in Central America. It's the same issue. And then you've got China, Iran, North Korea, Russia, kind of aligned now. They want to see us go down. They want to destroy our system.
I do think that the China alliance with Russia is very concerning.
And we have to do this differently. But if we give up in Ukraine, that is the signal to the Chinese and others that we don't have the resolution, we don't have the fortitude. And mark my words, then it comes to our door. And that's why we're one of the only countries in the world that do not have those threats, military threats, at our borders. Think about it. Like so many countries in the world. So I hear you.
But if we become so involved in so many conflicts, does that just make World War III inevitable?
No, I think to the contrary. I think that we have to. I think we play a responsibility as the leaders of the free world to organize our allies and our partners and do it together. I do think our partners have more responsibility to make their case. Absolutely,
I would agree.
But to your point, taking care of home, it's not fair. And I understand when people are really disgusted at how much is going overseas and how much people are struggling. I see it every day. They're homeless and people can't afford their food. 1,000 people registering for their fuel oil for the winter. People going to food banks. I mean, it's nauseating. We're sick of it. That's one people want. How about any other ideas? What would you like to? Can I ask about your? What do you think about the two candidates, the leading candidates, Biden and Trump?
I think that Biden has been a disaster in the presidency. I think that Trump is not what's best for the nation.
What would you like to see?
Vivek Ramaswamy in the president office.
Tell me about him. Why did that?
His main vision is to reinvigorate this American dream, what it means to be an American. And young people like myself, I mean, you look around, not a lot of people are proud to be American. And so Vivek's message is that we need to bring that to the forefront of politics. Also, I'm a conservative, so
I respect that.
and
I respect that a lot.
yes, we had a good conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, we need more free speech.
Yeah.
Vivek is all about transparency,
I agree.
free speech. So
How do you think he can do it, and why would he be able to do that?
he's an outsider. And
But how can
earlier
you-
you said that we
Yeah.
shouldn't have somebody without any experience. And Vivek makes a message that if something's broken, if you break a car and you drive your car into the ditch and you turn the keys over to the same person, it's probably going to happen again. And so Vivek, he's articulate, he's intelligent, he's convincing, and that's why I side with him.
I respect that. I'm troubled by no experience in government at all. None.
He certainly has experience, just not in government. Experience with business, and America's business takes business leaders.
So tell me about what I shared with you, and what do you think of me? I'm just curious. Be honest.
It was a good conversation. Obviously, we disagree on some points.
Like what? I'm curious.
We talked about foreign aid to Ukraine.
Also, he wants to eliminate foreign aid from Ukraine.
He supports that.
Yes, and then have Russia win.
No.
No, and then what?
Are you familiar with his foreign policy with Ukraine and the deal that he would propose? So that's, obviously I'm not speaking on behalf of him, but that's his position.
And I have to tell you, being a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee, I am deeply, deeply concerned when people talk like him. I have to tell you about our own safety and security moving forward. I'm just telling you that as a conservative, I'm telling you that is hugely dangerous for them. Hugely.
And we would disagree there just because I believe in prioritizing domestic, but also recognizing foreign issues.
Okay, I understand that, and I appreciate that. I enjoyed our conversation.
Nice
I'm
to
at
meet you.
town hall tomorrow night.
Nice to meet
I'd
you.
love it if you bring some conservative friends and check me out.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
You too.
All right, we're just going to take some time for you to talk to us.
Oh, good. Oh, sure. Okay.
Any questions answered.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's go in another room, better lighting.
Yeah, cool. Hey, how's it going?
How you doing? Good. How's this morning going?
Outstanding.
Let's hear you answer all the questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, all good. Take your time.
I'm Dean Phillips. I'm the president.
Oh,
What's your name?
Jake.
Jake, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
What do you study?
Business.
Business.
Yeah.
I was in business.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where did you go to school?
I went to Connecticut College for 1 year, then I went to Brown, and then the University of Minnesota for business school. And then I sold whiskey, and then ice cream. Belvedere vodka, and then 20 July. And now I'm in the business of legislation. Congress.
Oh,
Yeah.
what state?
Minnesota. Yeah. Where are you from?
I'm from Mass.
All right. Whereabouts?
Hopkinton.
Okay, cool. And what's your name?
I'm Ian.
Hey, Ian. Nice to meet you, pal.
Nice to meet you.
And what's your name?
Bree.
Hey, Bree. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you.
What do you guys study?
I'm in psychology.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Boy, do we need more. Oh, we need a mental health system. How about you?
Environmental science.
Thank you. I was just talking to a young woman who's studying the same and said she can't even do that in Florida because of Governor DeSantis. You know that? I thought that was pretty standard. Anyway, before I go into anything, what do you want me to know? If you could wave a magic wand, change anything, what do you guys want to see?
I don't know. I think mental health is really important because I want to go into counseling. So
Thank you. Thanks for, seriously, thank you. Thank you. I mean it. Okay, mental health. How about you? Well, you're an environmental science, so like what do you want to see result from your studying that?
I'm doing a lot of work on microplastics.
Oh, yeah, all over the place. And what's in terms of how to rid the ecosystem of it? Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
Working with like animals.
With animals? Wow.
Like marine biology, so like making sure it like stays out of like
Oh, so yeah, so it doesn't hurt them. Okay, I thought, how do we remove it? That's not I don't understand.
yeah. So there's a lot of work on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Trying to like keep that as
How about you?
I just want to see everyone get along.
Bingo. I'm the most bipartisan member of Congress, and that's why I'm doing this. Right there.
Yeah.
It's just sickening.
Yeah.
Sickening.
It's just too divided.
And I'm sick of it. So what are people talking about relative to President Biden and former President Trump in the next election? Where are people at?
I think it's just tough because they're both not great options. So
How do you feel?
I don't know. My friends don't really talk about politics a ton. So.
How about you?
I mean, I'm kind of undecided. I haven't done much time to be honest.
You guys gonna vote?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. See, I love that. I don't care if you vote for me. I do care if you vote. So thank you. So high fives, guys. And if you want, I'm having a town hall tomorrow at the Rex. I got music. It's G11 special sauce coming. We're gonna make campaigning fun again. And if you guys want to come, I'd love to see you. Yeah. Bring friends because if we're gonna change, it's gonna start with you guys. I mean it. I really do. And we can. Don't let the status quo and the two parties continue this nonsense. You know, please, for all of us. Okay. All right. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah.
you want to wear it? Yeah. There you go.
So wear that.
It's my sister.
Yeah, I don't
Tyler's
know if you're a half person yet, sir.
It's super cute. Can you wear it after this?
Can I just hold it?
Sure.
But yeah, well, here, you know.
Yeah, you can get closer if you want. Don't be afraid.
We've got
Hey, everybody, I'm Dean.